Most people wait until they feel ready before they start something. But you see, here's the problem. You never will. And every month you spend waiting for permission from yourself, from the people around you, from the market, or some random signal that you're waiting to receive, is a month that's gone to waste where you didn't learn anything. And I learned this the hard way the day I left my corporate job, with no real plan, no real security, and no idea what I was going to do moving forward. You see, you will never be ready, but you need to start anyway. We're going to talk about a few different sections about this topic today, the common issues that happen in a lot of people and how they think, as well as how you can start to overcome them and start something that you've always wanted to try. And we're going to start by talking about the permission trap. Waiting to be ready is a story that you tell yourself to avoid the discomfort of being bad at something. Now, this trap has three areas. Number one is the credential trap, which is you feel like you always tell yourself, I need another course first. I need to watch more YouTube videos. I need to just learn a few more things. That's a very common one that a lot of people fall into. Number two is the timing trap, which is you saying to yourself, I'll start when things settle down. You always have something come up in your life, in your work, in whatever it might be, and you constantly give yourself the excuse that that's the reason why you haven't started or taking the leap to finally do what you've always wanted to do. And the thing is, the realistic thing that we need to think about is there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something in our life, because that's just life, where it's going to be work might be busy, or your personal life might be busy. You might have a lot of things that you need to do for family. That is normal, and you cannot escape that. There's never going to be a perfect time where everything is just settled, you have no errands to run, you have no work to do, so you just need to start anyway. And number three is the comparison trap. And this is where you tell yourself, everyone else is so much further ahead, so what's the point? And this is one that I have constantly fallen into as well, where you look at all these content creators, all these business experts, and you always tell yourself, how am I going to get to that level and eventually be able to have that authority that they have? But the thing is, when you combine the unique things about you, like your experience, your skills, your taste, and how you want to come across as a person, all of that makes you unique, even if you are discussing something in the same industry as these quote-unquote experts. So by default, if you were to do that and approach things that way, with having your unique spin, then you shouldn't have to worry about the comparison of all these other experts in your field, because no one is going to have the same combination of skills and experience that you would. Each time you think about starting anything or taking on a new challenge, your mind gravitates towards one of these three areas as an excuse to delay starting. And it feels like a reasonable explanation that you tell yourself, but it's really just fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failing, or fear of what people might think. All the people you look up to, they didn't feel ready either, but they started anyway. That's a one thing that you need to always remind yourself. These experts that you always look up to, that you always look at and say, wow, they've accomplished so much. I guarantee you that when they started, they didn't feel 100% ready either, but they had to start anyway, and then they learned as they went. Now, the second section is talking about the real cost of waiting. Waiting isn't a neutral thing. It compounds against you and it slows down your progress. Every time you decide to wait a little bit longer before you start something, it's costing you. Whether that be financial, personal, or your health goals, the longer you wait, the more you're delaying getting closer to achieving them. And I want you to think about something for a second. If you had started whatever you've been thinking about doing months ago, or even maybe years ago, imagine where you would be right now if you didn't let the excuse of waiting to be ready get in your head. What could you have experienced, accomplished, or learned by now? The person who started 12 months ago with worse equipment, less knowledge than you, and less skills than you is way ahead of you right now. Not because they're necessarily more talented than what you are, but more because they accumulated the reps, they started when they said they were going to, and then as they continued to progress, they grew. They had more skills that they were able to acquire. They were able to then see what worked and what didn't, and then start to make tweaks and adjustments, while you were sitting there overthinking everything, trying to be ready before you start anything. That's the true cost of not starting. That what if thought in your head, you need to use that energy and put it towards starting that thing right now. You're already delaying it enough. There were already missed opportunities, and you don't want to let more pass without you trying. Waiting feels safe right now, but it's actually the riskiest thing that you can do because it guarantees that you will stay exactly where you are while the world moves forward. So think about that for a second. As you constantly delay doing that thing that you've always wanted to try, everything else is moving. Technology is advancing. There's a new AI tool coming out every single week, and you're still sitting there stuck overthinking everything before you even start, rather than starting and just adapting as you go. Now, the next section is talking about the only thing that you can control, and I really want you to focus on this section. So you'll figure it out as you go because you can never be fully prepared for what's to come. Taking action is the only thing that you can control. Taking action is the only thing that you can control. Get that in your head. The moment I decided to leave my safe corporate role over 3 years ago now was also one of the scariest decisions that I've ever made. From the outside looking in, it looked like a stupid decision. I was getting paid well, it wasn't too difficult of a job to be honest, and there was security, job safety if you want to call it. But internally, I just knew that I wanted more. I wanted to create my own lane, and I had so much hunger and ambition to be creative and to be successful and to just build something of my own. And I couldn't guarantee what I was doing was going to work out, and a lot of the times it didn't. But I could be certain of my own decisions and the actions that I was going to take. That's the one thing I could guarantee. I wasn't sure if what I was going to do was going to work out and I was going to be successful in my first try, which I wasn't, but I could guarantee that I can make this decision right now and I can bet on myself, and at least I can give it my 100% effort in trying to figure this thing out. When it comes to moments in your life where you need to make a tough decision, you get that sick feeling in your stomach because of the risk that you're thinking of taking, that's when you need to act. And you don't have a clear plan, but you decide to make a move anyway. Not because you were confident in the plan, but because you realized that waiting wasn't going to produce the plan either. And only one of those options was going to give you the clarity that you're looking for. Think about that for a second. Will the risks you take be tough? Definitely. Will you see some failures in your journey? Certainly. But the failure will lead to that second thing, then the third thing, and then the successful thing. What may end up working for you probably wasn't even visible when you first started. But as you continued down the road of trying, you began to uncover more ideas and opportunities. Most of the time, when you want to go and try that thing you've always been thinking about, it might not work out. Most people's first businesses was not the successful one that they end up becoming, a big business owner from. And if you look at all the most successful business owners right now, they tried 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times before they had a successful business. And that's okay. But you won't know which one is going to be successful until you make that first move, until you start and get out of your head and then learn along the way. You fail, you pivot, you change directions, you take what works, you eliminate what doesn't. You won't know any of this stuff unless you actually finally start and get out of your head to think that you have to be perfectly ready. Now, the next section is talking about how momentum is far greater than planning. Action produces clarity. Clarity does not produce action. You think you need a map before you start your journey, but your unique map can only be drawn once you start first. When you begin taking action and embarking on your journey, you will start to uncover the turns, the roadblocks, and the direction that you need to go in. But you will never see those things if you don't start. Momentum is literally a cheat code. The first video is going to be terrifying. The 10th is going to be probably uncomfortable as well. But then the 20th video becomes just like a normal day. You don't get to 50 reps by planning out 50. You get there by doing one at a time. The people who made it aren't the ones who had the best strategy at the start. They were the ones who never let their own doubt get in the way of the work that needed to get done. The ability to take action, reflect on the result, and then make the iterations to change and make improvements for the next time you try will always beat the quality of just planning. Always. I need you to understand that this should give you the reassurance that it's okay to try and then to fail and then pivot and change directions and take what works and continue to move forward and to improve. All the most successful people had to fail, had to learn, had to try when they weren't ready before they were able to grow and see the success that they were after. And that's going to be you as well. And you need to just accept that. You need to stop being scared of trying and failing, because you need to embrace that, because the sooner you get over those hurdles, because it's going to be inevitable, then the sooner you will find your success. Now, this part is the actionable step and how to actually start today. I want to talk to you about the 48-hour rule. If you've been sitting on an idea for more than 48 hours, then you're already been overthinking it. Ship something in the next 24 hours after that. Not the best version possible, just a version that's good enough to put out there into the public or share with some friends to get some feedback. It doesn't have to be some grand opening or reveal. It can just be something that's a minimum viable product just to get out there, get an understanding, get a feel for it. You might also realize if you like it or not as you're building it. Maybe if you just quickly build something to get an understanding of what that could look like, you might understand, okay, this is actually something I want to take seriously. Or you might actually think, you know what, this wasn't as enjoyable as I thought it was going to be. So at least I gave this a go and I just quickly made something, put something together, and got some feedback, and now I can pivot. It doesn't cost you much. It's a very cheap, time-effective way to try something. All you have to focus on is just getting the bare minimum MVP out there and just getting some feedback from it. And these days, with AI, with all these cool tools that we have available to us, you can create a rough understanding, an idea, and a product and a landing page within literally a couple of hours, and then you can start to test it. The next thing you want to do is to lower your expectations. Your first video will not be good. It just needs to be out there and to exist. Now, this goes not just for content, this goes for any ideas, any projects you want to try and do. They're not going to be good at the start. You're not expected to be perfect when you first launch something, but you just have to have it there. The goal of the first action you take is not views, it's not money, it's not the success. It's proving to yourself that you can act on ideas, unlock your creative mind, and get out of your comfort zone. The last exercise that's going to help you start today is the one thing exercise. Now, what's the one thing that you've been waiting to feel ready for? I want you to just think about that for a second. Write it down. Now ask yourself, what's the smallest possible version of that thing that you could do in the next 48 hours? You see how all these 3 actionable steps go hand in hand together. Now, once you figure out the smallest possible version to just get something out there, you want to go and do that. Not go do another course, not go do some more research, the actual thing that you need to do. Take the first step. Now, I want to give you a permission slip. The permission slip is that you don't need a credential, a sign, approval from others, or a feeling of readiness. This video is your permission slip. The only person needed to approve it was you. I'm now telling you, after you watch this video, go and start to take action on that thing that you've been delaying. You know what it is. I'm sure it's come up in your mind as you've been watching this video. Go and do that thing. This is the permission to go and do it, and you have to learn from it as quickly as possible. If there's one thing that you've been sitting on, that you've been waiting to do, one video, one project, one conversation, go and do that in the next 24 hours. Then come back and tell me what happened, because I'd love to know how you felt. And just like I mentioned at the start of this video, you will never be 100% ready, but you need to start anyway. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.